Welcome everybody. Let's talk about the stock market. These are the S&P 500 futures. We're looking at the December contracts. This is the weekly chart. We'll look at the daily and we'll look at the trade of the day. Now for the members, make sure you keep an eye on the streaming charts. 5 minute, 15 minute, 1 hour. The 1 hour cycles have been probably changing a little bit. And I'm not going to touch them just yet. I'll look at them again tonight, but might have to give those a few days or a day or two to see how they're going to change, but they're probably in transition for right now. But for now, I'll leave them the way they are. I just going to say to the members on that 1 hour streaming chart, which I'm not going to show here because that's for members only. When you look at it, I think tomorrow is going to be probably similar to today. Okay, what's going on there in that hourly chart? Make sure you look at the Discord server, the S&P 500 channel. I put a little comment in there. All right. Okay, let's take a look at the weekly chart here. So we got a pretty good candlestick going on. Today's Tuesday, so look at that candlestick. Yep, nice little bounce going on here. It's like the weekly chart's, trying to find a bottom here, and may start coming up. Pretty much what you see going on there. October 29th, well, that was the week that just basically passed, and the low happened right there. So the next cycle low on the weekly chart is November 26th, this one right here, okay? Yeah. So on the weekly chart, the top of this candlestick is 42.90. That would be pretty much the nearest resistance on the weekly chart. I'm not giving that a whole lot of credence right now. We'll look more at the daily chart for that kind of stuff. But look at the 50-week moving average, 42.12, and today, what did it get up to? 42.15. Okay, so the 50-week moving average absolutely acted as, I shouldn't say for today, but for this week, the high is 42.15. So for the moment, the 50-week moving average is acting as resistance, right? It's hitting up against it, it's having a hard time breaking through it. I think it will break through it. Let's look at the daily, talk about that. So here we are on the daily chart, and a lot of these numbers here are for support. They're descending. A lot of this is descending. I'm not going to dive into all that right now. But a lot of this is support for descent. Some of this was resistance, some of the support. So I'm not going to rework all the lines right now, but what I am going to say is resistance would be at the top of this candlestick, the nearest resistance, which is 42.73. That would literally be the nearest resistance, the top of this candlestick right here, because it's a candlestick that's closest to us. Okay, so I actually think we will get up there. I think we'll get up into this area right here, a little bit above this 42.62, which was previous support. So that's, we don't, support and resistance are different. Okay, but resistance is approximately right in this area. There's a small resistance right here. And basically it's made up of 3 candlesticks. This one, the top of the body of that one, and almost approximate top of this wick on this one. So this is a decent approximation. Right now about 42.73, okay? So to me, that's really the closest natural support is 42.70. I mean, resistance is 42.73. Okay, so here we have 42.04. Can we get up there? Yeah, I think we will get up there. I think we'll get above this 42.62 and get into the 42.70, low 42.70s. I think that's the nearest resistance, and I think we're going to hit it. Okay, so the next cycle low we can get rid of this one. Let's get rid of that cycle low. The next cycle low is this one, November 15th. Which is this guy right here. Okay, and this cycle low was about a day off. That's great. I mean, that's awesome. To be within a day or 2 or 3 of a projected cycle low, that's as sweet as it gets. That is really, really awesome. So there's no reason to change this cycle. Okay, and the next one after that would be December 10th, which is this green one. And I think I mentioned the other day, this next day here, the yellow one, is December 12th. We're going to keep those in there for now. All right, so what's my take on the market? Pretty simple. Think it's going to bounce. Okay, and as far as entries go on the hourly chart, As far as like how would you make an entry? Because it's one thing to talk about. You could do a swing trade here and just like arbitrarily take an entry, but you might have to sweat through a little bit of an overnight pullback or something like this, right? So how would you know to make an entry? Well, the members get the streaming charts, the shorter term streaming charts, 5 minute, 15 minute, 1 hour. Now the 1 hour chart, the month of October was absolutely smoking hot. It really helped out a lot of members, myself included, okay, on how to enter and exit. Now the market's changed right now, so the 1 hour chart's going to change along with it, but I still anticipate that the 1 hour chart's going to provide really good information on entries, okay, and exits for that matter. So that's how you know. You become a member, you look at the 1 hour chart, the 5 minute chart, and other streaming charts, and you begin to use the membership to your advantage to make entries. In other words, we don't just want to make entries just on daily alone, any old time during the day. I used to trade like that. It wasn't necessarily bad. It makes some profit, but the timing wasn't exactly as good as it could be, right? Then you got the whole nervous period where you're waiting to see if your bad entry is actually going to survive. You don't really want to do that, right? You want great entries. Okay, so anyway, I do think the market's going to increase here on the daily chart. Okay, I think we're going to come up into these cycles. This little green one, at least through, was this November 3rd, I think here. Yep, November 2nd or 3rd. Okay, so I think another couple days here, probably pretty easily going to get a bump, but it could actually pull back, I should say, into November 2nd or 3rd, then bounce again. That would not be unusual. This middle of this little cycle, I could see it coming up here for 2-3 days, a little pullback, and then bounce again. Okay, I could see that happening. That is a very kind of common trait that we see in cycles. All right, so that's that. Let's look at the trade of the day. All right, looking at the 5 minute chart, it's actually a pretty decent trade of the day on the 15 minute chart, but we'll just look at the 5 minute chart because this is more than enough. There's like at least 2 entries that could have been made on the 5 minute chart, using the 5 minute chart for the trade of the day, okay? So, I told the members last night in the nightly email, because they get a nightly email every night, I said, I think the market's is gonna bounce. The data is showing it's gonna bounce. Okay, I have a universe indicator that's been working really good. That universe indicator, man, absolutely amazing. It literally forecasted that the market was gonna bounce probably 5 days before it happened. That's just absolutely amazing. It was just slowly mounting, and sure enough, the market responded a few days later, and boom, it followed right behind. That's just amazing. Anyways, you can see overnight, this is 2 a.m. Central Daylight Time. I think it still is here in Texas. This is Texas time, 2 a.m. Look at this. Giddus Plus indicator says, looks like there might be a good trade here. Well, it sure was. We sat up here at the top. Okay. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. It's for everybody. Everybody's watching this video, both members and general public, right? So a little lesson here. Think about this for a second. Particularly for the members, they get an email and or some chat on the Discord server where I say, I believe the market's going to bounce, and I have good reason for saying it, right? I'm not saying I always get it perfect, but I had good reason to believe the market was going to bounce. So they have that information. They see this alert come in. Let's say they're up at 2 o'clock in the morning like I am. And they know the market's going to bounce. Are you going to get in with it way up here like this? No, you're going to wait for it to decline. Okay, it bottoms out, curls up. When it curls up, that's when you take the trade. I mean, you could enter right here. Okay, you have to wait for it to do the dip and then make the real money. Okay, so what's the point I'm trying to make? The point I'm trying to make is when you have a sense that you know which direction the market's going to be moving in on the daily and in the weekly charts, you want your shorter time frames, you want to be making entries that are in the same direction, right, as the daily chart. You don't want to be taking a short when there's lots of data suggesting the market's going up. I'm not saying you can't make money like over here in a short side trade, but it's against the market is my point. Okay, so getting back to this trade right here where the Giddus Plus indicator says make a trade, you just gotta be a little patient, wait for it to dip, and as it begins to curl up right here, you take the trade. Okay, you could have taken the trade right here, and the reason I say that is because the MACD was already above 0. You just would have had to sweat out this little pullback. Maybe it makes you nervous. You get out and you break even. Why go through all that emotional roller coaster, right? Just wait. To me, I wait for this to curl up and then I do the entry. Then you pick up. Look at this. This was sweet. This was like 15, a good solid 15 points. Out of that, you might get 11 or 12. More than that, actually. Sorry. This was about 10. Yeah, okay, 15. Yeah, about 15 points. 5, 10, 15, maybe a little more. So you get about 12 or 13 points out of this nice little trade right here. That's if you happen to be up doing some overnight trading. Okay. Sometimes when the markets are making changes and it's in transition from one trend to another, in this case from bearish to bullish, a little bit of a bearish to bullish trend change going on here with this new cycle, those first few nights, there could be some really good opportunities in overnight session trading futures. So that's why I'm picking out this one as part of the trade of the day. Okay, so now let's jump forward later on into, this is pre-market just by a few minutes here. This is at 8:05, which East Coast would be 9:05. So it's like 25 minutes before the market opens up, intraday, right? And here's an opportunity. Now on this one, you could trade short if you want to. I personally would not have, for all the reasons I just mentioned. I know the market's going to bounce. I see this thing is coming down. This is very typical pre-market. Pre-market's going against what the market's really going to do for the rest of the day. Yeah, you could trade this though. This was absolutely spot on. There was no, if you want to take this contrary trade, by all means, go for it. Everything's telling you it's a good trade. Like I said, me personally, I wouldn't have done it. I would have waited. And which one would I have waited for? This one over here at 10:20. Gatus Plus indicator says, hey, it thinks there's a trade coming. And there was. Nice. Look at that. Once the MACD gets up above this and starts, it tracks sideways and then boom, it takes off. Right? So here you just make the trade and ride it all the way up. It's a little bit of garbage in here. You do got to get through the chop, but the Gatus Plus indicator nailed it. Sure enough, it was like right here. Okay. You get the crossover on the moving averages and you're in. Boom. 5, 10, 15, another 15, probably 16 points out of this, 15, 16 points out of this. Okay, so really super nice. I mean, two opportunities, one overnight if you wanted. If you wanted to be a contrary trader, you could do that trade right there. The one I would have traded, I would have only traded this one today, right? I didn't trade today. I was busy doing other stuff, but some days I trade, some days I don't. Just depends how busy I am. But this is the trade I would have taken. The only trade I would have taken during the intraday is this one. 15, 20 points, I'm happy. Heck, even if I made 10 points out of this on a futures trade, that's great. That's good bank. All right, if you want to become a member, there's a link in the description right below the video. You want the universe indicator that I only show to members, okay? If you got to become a member. If you want the streaming charts, I talked about the hourly chart and the hourly cycles. You got to become a member, right? Click on the link in the description right below the video. It's going to bring you, make sure you read that description really careful so you don't have any problems joining, okay? It's going to bring you over to this server right here, get a server. You're going to click on server shop. It's going to take you to this page, $7.99 a month. $7.99 a month. Okay. I have members right now that make, whatever. They don't even think about the membership. The memberships, the trading has paid for itself for the rest of their life. They don't even think about it. $7.99 is ridiculously cheap. Okay, some of these guys on small retail accounts are making from $100 to $300 a day. Okay, and I'm sure other people are making even more. Some might be making less, but either way, all the patient traders are easily way more than covering the membership. Okay, this is like just crazy cheap. So the Gatus Plus indicator that we saw that was on the trade of the day, that also gets sent to the Discord server here as an alert. This is where all the service membership services take place, is on the Discord server. Okay, so an alert gets sent here. So in addition to the streaming charts, you get alerted. Okay, you also get alerts for gold, crude oil, top 30 stocks, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, and occasionally we get a daily only alert. This might be one or two symbols that come in, not every day, but some days. Okay. Remember I talked about the nightly email. So when you become a member, you just put your email address in the emails only channel. I'll pick it up. You start getting the nightly emails, which includes a S&P 500 chart that's attached to the email. And I usually give a few sentences or a paragraph of what I think the market's going to do. That's how the members knew that the market was going to go up, in my opinion, right? Because I gave my opinion in the email. So they could trade accordingly. Right, they use their own style, plus read the email, and they can make decisions for themselves. But at least they know what I'm thinking okay? And they can take advantage of the service. You see, and here's also some premium symbols. Every night I put in there, 5 nights a week, I put in symbols for the futures and symbols for stocks that are optionable, okay? Occasionally do some fixed income. I might buy some corporate stocks, stuff like that, that'll go in there. Okay, and occasionally, like not too long ago, I traded some British pound, and I also traded like the euro dollar. So sometimes you'll see some stuff in there, okay? All right, that's it for now. Happy trading, everybody. God bless everybody. We'll talk to you all real soon again next time.